And welcome back to the 2017 Gridiron Challenge, live on TV 24 here from Burgess Snowfield at JSU Stadium. Mickey Chadwick and John Holder rejoining you in the booth now as we're getting set for the third and final game this evening between the Boaz Pirates and the New Hope Indians. So, John, the couple of teams that kind of struggled last year missed the playoffs from a year ago.
And both teams go with new head coaches. Jeremy Sullivan, the former JSU All-American lineman and JSU assistant. Now the new head coach at Boaz, and Kenny Chadwick, who was the offensive coordinator at Fort Payne, is now the new head coach at New Hope. So entirely new coaches, and with that, usually new philosophies, a new way of doing things with both of these teams here to begin the 2017 season. And I'm a little bit out of breath because I sprinted from those coaching interviews to be here in the booth in about a minute and a half.
Well, you did a good job getting here. So the final game, of course, played under the lights here at JSU Stadium as these two teams, we understand, John, that the format, as you see the Indians, by the way, in blue, New Hope in blue with the red headgear, and the Boaz in the white jerseys and the gray helmets, as Boaz faces a 3rd down and 5. I believe we're going to play 3 quarters in this one, right?
3 quarters. I talked with Coach Sullivan from Boaz, and he said all along that's what they agreed to, was to play 3 quarters tonight. I think that's 2 varsity quarters from what Coach Sullivan told me, and 1 JV quarter.
All right. Well, we do have good complete rosters here, but of course, you know, one of the issues with spring training is coaches oftentimes are not sure who they will be playing, so there was no starting lineups given, but we will work through the roster and get these names to you. There you see number 1. We've got 2 number 1s. So that was either Taylor Smith or Devin Taylor on the receiving end of that one. And here is the handoff over the right side. That is number 9, Christian Collins, as Boaz on the move here to start this game.
And there's Jeremy Sullivan, as he said, a former All-American offensive lineman at JSU and assistant coach at Pelham last year. Former head coach at Citronelle in 09 and 10, and 4 years as an assistant coach here at Jacksonville State previous to that.
2nd down and 6, and nice running play right up the middle of the defense. It's Christian Collins again, rising junior, and he picks up more than enough yardage needed for the Boaz 1st down.
Good looking opening drive by Boaz here. Their only win last year in the 1-9 season was over next door neighbor Marshall County rival Douglas. Other than that, playing in a tough region with folks like Alexandria and Etowah and Scottsboro. Double tough region. Just victories hard to come by last year for the Pirates.
This pass a little behind the intended receiver, Logan Bailey. Had him open. There you see Easton Harden, sophomore quarterback for Boaz. Already seen in this first drive, he's got a really good arm, tight spiral.
Yeah, and this is a Boaz team that I'll just tell you, Mickey, eyeballing them, I saw them late last season in October, I think week 8, as they played Etowah over at Jim Glover Field in Attala. And, of course, Etowah had a fantastic team. But this is a much more physically stronger and bigger Boaz team than they were even back in October. So they have apparently been doing a lot of work in the weight room, because even from 6-7 months ago, there's a noticeable difference in the size of this Boaz team as compared to the one I saw over at Attala back in October.
On 2nd down, play action. Pass is caught by Lane Dixon, immediately hit by Dylan Sigler of New Hope. Short gain. It'll set up a 3rd and 3.
Again, nice arm once again. Gets the ball out there, quick release out of his hands, on target. Receiver covered, still made the connection. Big offensive line up front. 57, Will Patterson, a large guy over there. 72, Hunter Richards, a big, nice offensive line for Boaz.
On 3rd down, Harden gives it right up the middle. Christian Collins set a couple of effective runs between the tackles. This one the same. He picked up about 3.5 yards, which is good enough to move the chain. So it'll be a 1st down at the New Hope 25.
Very reminiscent of the first game we saw between Oxford and Minor, where Oxford took the opening drive and just blew down the field and scored. This looks like the same similar type drive by Boaz here on their opening possession.
Good fake by Harden. Gets rid of it at the right time. Big play as Logan Bailey is inside the 5. That was a nice job by this young quarterback, Easton Harden. Had some pressure on him and held on to it just long enough and then let it go at the right time.
That was like Nick Marshall to Sammy Coates right there. Same kind of play. I don't know if that was designed that way, but that's the way it looked, just coming right up to the line of scrimmage, drawing that corner up and then leaving the receiver wide open.
So 1st and goal as Boaz knocking on the door looking for the first points of the game, and they get him. Another run up the middle by Christian Collins, a junior running back. And an impressive drive to begin this game by the Boaz Pirates.
I think you could say the Jeremy Sullivan era at Boaz has begun with a very bright spot here. First drive, they take the length of the field, drive 65 yards for a touchdown, and just really a methodical drive there. Nice mix of run and pass by the Boaz Pirates.
So the extra point upcoming. Gerardo Baeza, and he drills it. So Boaz, as John said, a nice mix of run and pass. Good execution by that young man, the sophomore quarterback Easton Harden, leading his team down the field. Christian Collins with some good runs up the middle. And just a very efficient drive, nice execution by this Boaz team to take a 7-0 lead.
And Boaz fans have to be excited in watching that, because last year this team only averaged 9 points a game on offense. They were shut out 4 times where they did not even score a point. So for this team to take this drive, the first possession that they have of the spring, and drive the length of the field, score a touchdown, that is absolutely huge for Boaz.
And there you see a look at some of the fans in attendance.
Yeah, that's my cousins right there, believe it or not, Mick. I got relatives everywhere, and those are some of my cousins there, sitting there from Boaz. They flagged me down before the game.
So now it's New Hope's turn with the football. They'll start from the 35. And their quarterback has the football stripped, but one of his linemen able to jump on it, quarterback Ryan Pepper. He didn't have much time at all on that play as Boaz broke through right up the middle.
35, Jaden Kahila coming in for the pressure right up the middle. And that's another good sign for Boaz, because in addition to only scoring 9 points on offense last year, Mickey, they gave up an average of 42 a game in every game but one. And that's the game they won against Douglas. They gave up at least 41 points. So to get that kind of stop was great.
Little jet sweep, nice run that time. Nick Johnson, the senior, showing good speed, able to turn the corner and get back all of the lost yardage plus some, putting New Hope in a makeable 3rd and short.
Nice hold that time as New Hope exploits that and able to get a first down. So after a big loss on first down, as you mentioned, Mickey, they get it all back and then some to get a first down. 3rd down, actually, a yard short.
3rd and 1. A little mix-up, it appeared, but Hunter Love takes the pitch. Hard running as he runs over a Boaz defender and bulls his way into Pirate territory for a first down inside the 45.
Hunter Love, only a rising 9th grader. He's still in the 8th grade, and watch him punish 2 of the Boaz defenders as he just shoved number 3, Garrett Bright, a senior, to the ground. That's a 9th grader pushing the senior down and getting about 3 or 4 more extra yards.
Good look at Ryan Pepper, the senior quarterback. Oh, a high snap. Able to fall on it back at the 43 to avert danger there. Still a big loss, but at least they maintain possession of the football. And an injured Boaz player on the play also.
New Hope, you mentioned in the open there, Mickey, that New Hope missed the playoffs last year. A little better record. They were 4-6 last year. They won 4 of their first 5 games, but then they lost their last 5 and missed the playoffs to finish at 4-6. Their coach from last year, Randall Taylor, he was there for 7 years, but he resigned back in January, and that's when they brought Kenny Chadwick in. And Chadwick, his first day on the job, Mickey, he's only been there about a month total. His first day on the job at New Hope was only back on April the 3rd. And he was an offensive coordinator, as we said, at Fort Payne. Before that, an assistant coach at Clay Chalkville. Before that, 1 year as head coach at Appalachian High School over in Blount County. And he's had some really great influences. He talks about Jerry Hood, the longtime coach who retired this year at Clay Chalkville, Jerry Elmore, legendary Hall of Fame coach at Fort Payne and also at Aniana, and then Paul Ellis, the current head coach there now at Fort Payne, is being tremendous influences on him. And he says they're going to have up-tempo, hit you in the mouth. And I think that last run that we saw over there, we saw some hitting in the mouth by New Hope, that's for sure. And he had a quote where he said, guaranteed, New Hope's going to be in the playoffs this year. He made that. He said, we are going to the playoffs, no doubt about it.
Second down and long. Give right up the middle to Hunter Love for a short gain. By the way, the injured player was Ben Morgan, you saw there on your screen. He was unable to put any weight at all on his injured right legs. I hope that young man is okay. Third down and 21 for New Hope. Indians had a pretty good drive going, John, until the high snap.
I was just thinking that the high snap was really the killer. They had really some momentum, had ripped off a couple of big runs. The last run was really the kind that energizes the entire team with a couple of punishing blows by the running back, but now they're in a third and long.
Pepper couldn't find the receiver open, tried to run, and could not escape the grasp of Briley Ramey, the junior linebacker, and it'll be 4th and long for New Hope.
Well, they are breaking in a new quarterback. Their quarterback from last year, Derek Edwards, graduated. They also lost their top receiver, Brett Clark. He was an all-state player who is now playing at Troy. And they also lost a 1,700-yard rusher in Jonathan Colton. So they're missing a lot of offensive weapons off that team. And as we've seen in a few of these games here, Minor, we saw that, breaking in a new quarterback earlier. And in essence, Anniston really breaking in a new quarterback with Sabian Bethune. He really only played one fall jamboree game last year, and that's the only experience he has. So we're seeing a lot of new quarterbacks getting their first taste of varsity competition here at the Spring Gridiron Challenge.
And a simulated punt of 35 yards. Stops the clock with 4:58 left in our first quarter. So Boaz with a 7-0 lead. They get it back at their 21.
Well, longtime JSU fans are familiar with Jeremy Sullivan. Quite frankly, an All-American lineman here. He was also an All-State lineman down at Leroy in Southwest Alabama. Standing talking next to him, he is a huge, huge man. Easy to see why he was an All-American offensive lineman.
Harden zips it over the middle. Receiver wide open. Catching it in stride is Logan Bailey. He's all the way down to the New Hope 35-yard line before he was tackled by Jonathan Henry. They emptied the backfield, John. 5-receiver formation, which they did a couple of times on their first possession, and more importantly, they gave Harden plenty of time to throw.
They surely did, and that's the second big play by Logan Bailey, showing some nice elusiveness, tracked down at the last minute, but a huge gain. And here comes Boaz in their second possession now, already deep into New Hope territory.
Correction, that was Kendall Collier on the tackle. Back to the ground game, short gain this time for Christian Collins up the middle. Had a lot of success on that play on the first drive, but they stopped him after a gain of 3 here. So 2nd down and 7 for the Pirates. Easton Harden looks very much in control of this offense. Collins back up the middle again as Coach Sullivan and his offensive staff just keep testing the middle of that New Hope defense and having some success with it. This is another first down for the Pirates.
We mentioned the size of that Boaz offensive front, and they have been opening some gigantic holes there. That's been one of the big things as we take a look at Coach Sullivan there, the new head coach of the Boaz Pirates, offensive coordinator at Pelham the last 2 years. Of course, he's been an offensive line coach. He was also a defensive coordinator at Jackson when they won the 4A state championship back in 2011.
They empty the backfield again, 5-receiver formation. Harden with a run-pass option. Elected to keep it himself and only gained about a yard before he stepped out of bounds just inside the 25.
Harden's a nice-looking quarterback. He's making some good decisions out here. Nice-looking arm, got some wheels on him as well. I would imagine we saw earlier Alexandria head coach Frank Tucker down the sidelines. He's sitting down there in the corner. He's in the same region with Boaz, and He's here getting a look at the Pirates and what they may look like. And this one may be causing him some concerns.
Pressure up the middle. Harden escaped it and just throws it away. Nice play by Harden, because number 4, Brandon Selvage, came barreling through right up the middle, and Harden, if he doesn't avoid this tackle, it's a huge loss.
Harden rise in 10th grade. You can just see with every play, it seems like his confidence growing. This is the kind of guy that Coach Sullivan can build an offense around. It looks like he's got some pretty decent wide receivers as well. So it looks like already a much improved Boaz team.
3rd down and 9. Collins tries the middle again. Good gain down to the 15. It looks as though, depending on the spot, that's going to be another 1st down. When you can get 9 yards up the middle on 3rd down, you got something working at that offensive line.
Absolutely, and we call those guys, a couple of those guys, numbers, but big number 72 over there, that's Hunter Richards. Then you got 67, Wesley Jolly, 57, another big guy up front, Will Patterson. Those guys are opening some big holes in that New Hope defensive line.
Collins tried the middle, then broke it outside and only picked up a couple of yards before he was met in the hole by Kendall Collier. Gain of 2. It'll be 2nd down and 8 at about the 12-yard line.
Another impressive drive here by Boaz. Maybe not quite as impressive as the first one, but they are steadily moving it down the field. And they've been methodical. I used that word in the first drive. That's true here on the 2nd drive as well. And this has been mainly on the ground.
2nd down, Harden. No one open to his left. Decides to run it himself. Got to the 10-yard line before he was stopped in his tracks by New Hope's Brandon Selvage on another tackle.
Big 3rd down play coming up really here for both teams. Can Boaz keep this drive alive? Can New Hope rise up and get a stop here with 1:50 to go in the quarter? It's going to be about 3rd and 6. They've got to go down to the 5-yard line to get a first.
And we've got a whistle and a timeout called by New Hope. So with 1:41 left here in our 1st quarter, New Hope wants to talk it over on 3rd and 6. We'll be back to the Gridiron Challenge in just a moment.
Calhoun County Commission, made up of J.D. Hess, Tim Hodges, Fred Wilson, Don Hudson, and Lee Patterson, ask you to take a look at what Calhoun County has to offer. With our beautiful parks, neighborhoods, recreational facilities, historic sites, and museums, our citizens enjoy a high quality of life and strongly supports the arts. If you're considering expanding or starting a new business, take a look at what Calhoun County has to offer. You'll be glad you did.
Join us May 19th and 20th for the Logan Martin Lake Fest and Boat Show, presented by America's First Federal Credit Union. Come experience Alabama's largest in-water boat show. Test drive pontoons from Bennington, Sun Tracker, Silver Wave, South Bay Regency, and Avalon. Fishing boats from Tracker, Nitro, Express, and Challenger. And personal watercraft from Sea-Doo. Weekend events include fireworks, live music, vendors, and giveaways, including a brand new lake-ready Sun Tracker pontoon boat. May 19th and 20th in Pell City. We'll see you on the lake.
And on 3rd and 6, Collins tests the middle again, but this time New Hope defending it well. Once again, it was number 4, Brandon Selvage, there to fill the hole, and it'll be 4th down and still about 5 yards to go. So decision for Coach Sullivan, kick the field goal or go for it on 4th down.
They've got a pretty decent place kicker, but I think they're going to go for it here.
Down to 1 minute to play in the 1st quarter. Quick moving 1st quarter. Boaz has kept the football a lot here and eat up a lot of the clock. And another timeout by New Hope. I thought they just used their only timeout.
I think they are, the best that I can tell, the rules were supposed to be 1 timeout per quarter. But we have already seen so far today that rule has not been a hard and fast rule. Much like many of the rules here today. And that's what spring training is all about.
Well, the coaches are in charge.
Well, we've got
probably feel good about that. One time they get to bend the rules. get away with it.
For a school night and for these teams coming a pretty good ways, an hour or so, hour and a half with New Hope, to come here on a school night and a change in the schedule. Pretty decent crowd from both teams that made their way from Boaz and also from Madison County tonight. Boaz cheerleaders are here. Really one of the, if you don't know a lot about high school cheerleading, the Boaz cheerleaders are one of the top high school cheerleading squads in America. They go down to Disney and compete every year, and they are one of the top teams, not only in this state, but one of the top cheerleading squads in the country. And they are here today at JSU Stadium following the Pirates down from Marshall County.
4th down, they'll go for it. Harden looking, still looking. Now goes to the end zone, and it's incomplete. Closest player to it was Taylor Smith, and it's over his head out of bounds. So the New Hope defense bends, but they do not break. They keep Boaz from increasing their lead, so it remains 7-0, and the Indians will get it back.
New Hope had a pretty good drive going, as we mentioned, on their first possession, and then a high snap over the quarterback's head effectively ended that drive. So let's see what they can do here on drive number 2 with less than a minute to go here in quarter number 1.
Ryan Pepper takes the snap from his 5-yard line. And getting around the corner that time was Will Cox. Nice first down play, backed up inside their own 10-yard line.
Well-designed play and some good blocking and a good vision there by Cox. As they get the first down. And there's Kenny Chadwick, the new head football coach. He was the OC, as we said, at Fort Payne in 2016. Former head coach at Appalachian for a year. Former assistant coach at Clay Chalkville. He is a 99 graduate of Fort Payne High School. And his second head coaching job in his first year over at New Hope down in southern Madison County between Gunnersville and Huntsville.
And a procedure penalty against the New Hope offense. So after a nice gain, they backed themselves up 5 yards. And if you recall, a high snap really killed their first drive. So now it's 1st and 15 after the penalty back at the 18-yard line.
One of the things Coach Chadwick said was he was going to start with a clean slate. No starters, no returning starters. Everybody started anew when they began spring practice.
Possible final play of the first quarter. Pepper's pitch to Love is behind him. And again, we saw them self-destruct on their first drive, and that's what they've done here. The 5-yard penalty, then the bad pitch, and the loss all the way back to the 2-yard line, as that'll take us to the end of the first quarter. Here in our final game of our first day of the Gridiron Challenge from JSU Stadium. We will take a break, come back with second quarter action live right here on TV 24.
At Family Health and Wellness Center in Oxford, we believe in treating every patient like members of our own family. That's what we do every day. Dr. Edmund, a board-certified primary care physician, and his staff are here for you through each step of your wellness journey. Dr. Edmund also routinely visits his patients who have been hospitalized and makes follow-up calls to ensure they're on the road to recovery. Check us out online, call us, or come by our office. One visit and you'll know you're a member of our family.
For great food and great service and a great atmosphere, come and see us at Top of the River in Anniston. At Top of the River, all of our products are prepared fresh daily with our own special recipes, including our farm-raised, grain-fed catfish. Large groups and private groups from 50 to 250 are welcome, and reservations are accepted 7 days a week. And ask about our full on-site catering. Family owned and operated since 1982 and always kid-friendly. Top of the River in Anniston.
Don't just dream it. Call Family Savings Credit Union. Right now, get something you want for as low as 2.24% APR. You can even apply online or by phone. Family Savings Credit Union, where where your money grows with you and your family.
Hi, my name is Reverend Jeffrey C. Williams, the owner and licensed funeral director of Anderson Funeral Services. At Anderson Funeral Services, we are compassionate and caring individuals committed to providing quality and professional service at affordable prices. We are where service begins and never ends, and love is what love does.
Aniston Funeral Services offers affordable services to meet any need for all families. Aniston Funeral Services, 630 South Wilmer Avenue, where service begins and never ends.
And we're back for the start of the second quarter. New Hope and Boaz here at the Gridiron Challenge, and a couple of negative plays here for New Hope has put the Indians behind the 8 ball as they're now back at their 5-yard line. And again, John, like their first possession, they had a pretty good drive going.
Yeah, loss of 18 on that last fumble and the subsequent tackle all the way back. They were lucky. They originally marked it at 2, but they decided to move it up to the 5.
And you see a new quarterback in there, Riley Phillips, number 7, replacing Ryan Pepper. And Phillips passed. I'm not sure if that was tipped, but it definitely sailed very high over the head of the intended receiver, Jonathan Henry.
Braylon Milner was in the backfield earlier for Boaz that time, coming off the corner, got his hands up, nearly tipped the pass, and certainly disrupted the vision. And an incomplete pass, and now it's 3rd and forever. They've got to go all the way out to the 33-yard line to get a first down. So you're looking at 3rd and 28 here for the New Hope Indians.
Phillips checking his wristband to see if he's got any good 3rd and forever plays. Here comes Boaz up the middle. Phillips just takes a snap and takes off, and at least picks up a little bit of room before the simulated punt. It'll be 4th and long, and again, New Hope just their own worst enemy here in this first quarter and second quarter so far.
Yeah, got some breathing room for that simulated punt because it's coming up. 35 yards guaranteed. You know, talking about Boaz and talking about Jeremy Sullivan, it's been a tough last couple of years for the folks in Boaz. Many folks here in Calhoun County are familiar with Eric Whaley, Walter Welborn graduate. He was the head coach for 4 years at Boaz, and 2 years ago was diagnosed with a very rare form of cancer, and beat the cancer, went into remission, and he came back and coached last season 1-9. But then the cancer came back toward the end of the year last year, and Coach Whaley stepping aside because of that to take further cancer treatments, and that's when they decided to go ahead and make a hire with Jeremy Sullivan, and Coach Whaley is going to stay on as an assistant athletic director there at Boaz. Our best wishes to him.
Boaz starting this drive at the New Hope 49, and Collins another big run up the middle all the way down to the 33. Let's go down to the field and check in with, well, we'll do that in just a moment. 1st and 10 now for Boaz. They stay with Collins up the middle, and why not? Because they are just being very effective right up the middle of this New Hope defense. This play gains close to 6 yards.
We've seen 2 or 3 fine running backs for Boaz as well. They are getting it done. I know that they are only leading this game 7-0, but for all intents and purposes, they have dominated offensively.
Second down and a long 4. Harden gets his pass away, and a diving, sliding catch at the 26-yard line by that young man, number 4, Lane Dixon. A gain of 2, maybe 3. It's going to be 3rd and 2 now. We'll call it 3rd and 3 for Boaz.
Gerard Mathangani is going to, in just a few moments here, just a couple of moments, going to have an interview with athletic director up at Boaz, Patrick Williams, who is a familiar voice to folks here at JSU Stadium, as he is the PA voice of the Gamecocks during football season, and also works a lot of the state basketball tournaments, the Super 7 state championships. He's a PA voice for there. Many folks will know the voice of Patrick Williams, and Patrick's going to give us a kind of an update on what's going on with Eric Whaley and the coaching change and what they've been through up at Boaz over the last couple of years.
One of the rare times Collins was stuffed up the middle. Number 70, Andy Gerald, stopped him for a gain of a yard. 4th and 2, Boaz set to go for it. They empty the backfield once again, this 5-receiver set. Harden zips it and completes it to Dixon. First down inside the 20 as that play goes for 7 yards.
Nice throw and catch from Harden to Dixon. I'm like you, Mickey. I think this Harden guy, folks in that 5A region had better take notice of this young man because he is a playmaker. He can do it with both his arm and his legs, and he's got a couple of neat receivers out there as well.
He just looks in command, especially as young as he is. They'll try the middle again. And New Hope maybe finally figured that out. Number 65, Colby Bolton, making the stop for no gain there. Needs a little chin strap help. Play will actually lose a yard. It'll be 2nd down and 11 back at the 20.
Boaz scored on their first drive. Second drive kind of sputtered. Third drive here. They're in scoring position again. Let's see what the Pirates can do.
Here's Collins up the middle, and he gets it down inside the 15. Once again, it was Colby Bolton on the tackle, but not before Collins able to pick up close to 6 yards. All right, I think Gerhardt is ready now down on the field for us with a special guest.
Guys, yeah, you mentioned Coach Patrick Willison. I'm standing here with him. He's the athletic director, assistant principal at Boaz High School. First off, you wear a lot of hats there at your alma mater. You graduated in the late '80s, and now you're back in some key roles. Talk about being back at Boaz.
Well, I've been there just about ever since I left from Jacksonville State. So yeah, it's great to be at my alma mater and hopefully make a difference in my hometown. And spent a lot of time around the school for a lot of years. So it's like home to me.
Absolutely. John highlighted earlier in our broadcast about some of the tough decisions that you've had to make over the last year or so with the football program and hiring Coach Jeremy Sullivan, a guy that is well known in this area here in Jacksonville State. Kind of highlight for people who aren't as familiar with the Boaz program, some of the things that you guys have been through, and then the guy that's moving you forward.
About 2 years ago, our head coach, Eric Whaley, who actually went to school at Walter Wellborn and is familiar with this area, played baseball here at Jacksonville State, was diagnosed with an Askins tumor, cancerous Askins tumor. And so he's been really battling that for about 2 years. He did come back and coach last year, but his health was not good. Probably came back a little bit too soon, a lot of us think. And he had a second bout, it was in remission, and then it came back. And he's going through treatments continually still and has not been in great health. And he just made the decision that he felt like he just needed to step away. So we opened up our job, and we wound up with about 115 candidates, resumes, and people who'd put in for it, which made it very difficult for us. But the principal, Gary Minnick, and I just hunkered down one day and went through all of our resumes, got it down to about 17. Really studied those 17, got it down to 9, and then got it down to 5 that we interviewed. And Coach Sullivan was clearly our #1 guy, and everything just worked out great where he had been at Pelham, and they let him out of his contract so he could come on up to Boaz and be on staff with us, get to go through and lead spring training and some other things that he's doing. He's actually teaching driver's ed for Coach Whaley right now. So it's worked out really well for us. He's doing a tremendous job, and we're really glad to have him in Boaz.
Absolutely. Looks like the football program's in great hands. Talk about the programs overall with you guys there at the Pirates.
Our athletic programs are doing well. I actually I was at Huntsville for a 3 o'clock softball game today, then drove straight down through here to Jacksonville State for the football game, and our girls are actually playing still right now up in Huntsville. So our softball team's doing well. We had a great spring of our spring sports, and our basketball program is on the uptick as well. Our girls went to the regional here, and so we get our football program turned in the right direction. I think our overall athletic program will be what we want it to be.
Absolutely. You're doing a fine job leading it as well, guys. Coach Patrick Williams, Boaz, athletic director and assistant coach. Guys, back to you.
And Patrick Williams also, as we mentioned, not only PA voice here at Jacksonville State in football, but he's also the voice of radio on WBSA in Boaz for the Boaz Pirates for about 25 years or so. He's been the radio voice on Friday nights, long before he became the athletic director. So he is Boaz through and through.
Well, New Hope's got it back, and Phillips connects with speedy Nick Johnson, who advances it forward for a nice gain up around the 18. It'll put New Hope in a 3rd and short situation.
And again, we certainly wish our best to Eric Whaley and his family. Still has relatives in the Wellborn community, still has family here, and a lot of friends and so forth. As Patrick mentioned, he went to school at Walter Wellborn, great baseball player, played baseball at Jacksonville State, so wish our best to him.
Timeout on the field taken by Coach Sullivan and the Boaz Pirates. We'll take it as well. 6 minutes and 6 seconds left in our second quarter. Close game. Boaz dominating, but only with a 7-point lead.
We were looking to sell our starter home and move into our dream home. After looking at all the options, we chose to work with ERA King. ERA means easy, responsive, and attention to detail. ERA King made the entire process of buying and selling a house easy. From helping us decide on a listing price to navigating the final closing, our agent worked with us every step of the way. ERA King. To us, it means always doing the right thing for every client. What will ERA mean to you? Find out at eraking.com.
Huge hailstorm equals huge savings at Buster Miles Ford in Heflin. Come experience a stress-free buying process during our hail sale and save thousands. Over 300 vehicles must go. The damage so small on some and saving so big on others. We have brought the professionals in to fix the cars right. Work has begun for our loss and your gain. Come take advantage of these savings, hopefully never to be seen again. Buster Miles Ford in Heflin off I-20 exit 199. The difference worth driving since 1947.
And a beautiful night here at JSU Stadium. 3rd and short. The pitch to Love, and he's got the first down. He brings it out across the 25 to the 27. And that's a big first down for New Hope. They needed that to keep possession of the football.
Despite 3 long drives by Boaz, they have stalled on 2 of those, and as a result, New Hope still has a chance to win this football game.
Riley Phillips staying in there at quarterback. Brian Pepper played the first couple of series, but Phillips stays in there, and he completes this pass over the middle to Will Cox out at the 35, gain of 8. So nice pitch and catch on first down.
Phillips starting to look pretty good here for New Hope on this drive, and they have moved the ball at times, but it's really been 2 key plays that have totally decimated their offense. That was the high snap over the quarterback's head, and then the fumble on what looked like was going to be a reverse play where they got pinned all the way back on 3rd and long inside their 5-yard line.
2nd and 3. Little speed sweep to Nick Johnson. And Johnson again showing nice speed. Took a big hit over there on the sideline by Boaz's Briley Ramey, but it is another New Hope first down.
New Hope moving the ball again. The last 2 drives has been a victim of field position. They had a very good drive going. Actually, we're inside Boaz territory when that high snap happened. The last drive, they just never really got anything going because they were backed up almost immediately after 1 play back down to their 5-yard line. Now they didn't have good field position here either, but they've driven it all the way from within the shadow of their goal line all the way back out to almost midfield.
And now just New Hope, too much confusion. They had to burn a timeout to avoid the penalty. Don't want to back themselves up again. They've really been their own worst enemy here in this game so far with penalties and bad snaps and things of that nature. And, you know, seeing Nick Johnson run that speed sweep reminded me, I think New Hope, isn't that where Rudy Ford went to school, who played at Auburn?
Jonathan Ford.
Jonathan Ford.
Jonathan Ford. I was about to mention, if you're an Alabama or Auburn fan, you got 2 guys, one from Alabama, one from Auburn, that both played at New Hope and both went on to the NFL. Jonathan Ford, who played at Auburn, of course, and then Howard Cross, who was an All-American and All-Pro tight end for the New York Giants and played at Alabama. Howard Cross was from New Hope. Called him back in the 80s, and that's way back in mine and your time.
Yes,
well, the younger folks won't know who Howard Cross is, but they called him High C because he was about 6'6" and weighed about 250 pounds, which is big. But in those days, that was gigantic in the mid-'80s to have a tight end of that size. Huge hands, and he had a long career in the NFL.
So out of the timeout, still a little confusion here for New Hope. Now they're set, 1st and 10 at their 43. Riley, short pass. It is complete to Selvage. And a nice gain across the 50, close to a first down at the 48.
And of course, they got another guy going on to play college football off last year's team. We mentioned earlier, Brett Clark, a wide receiver. He was a all-state player in Class 3A for New Hope last year and signed with Troy. So he's playing FBS football with the Trojans next year coming out of New Hope.
So second down and very short. New Hope's best drive of the night so far. They're looking to get on the scoreboard for the first time, trailing 7-0. Selvage lost his footing on the reception and is going to lose yardage back on his side of the 50. So there's that negative play that has bitten New Hope every time they've got something going. So this will put them in a 3rd and 5 situation now.
Seems like every time they lose yardage, it's on a little bit of a trick play. They were trying some kind of reverse down there when they got pinned on their own 5-yard line. And that time, Mickey, I don't know, obviously, the New Hope playbook, but it looked like it was going to be one of those old Steve Spurrier double passes. Is what it looked like they were trying to set up that time. And he lost his footing in the turf here.
So 3rd and 5. Phillips leaves it with Love, and Love's got the first down and more. He's into the secondary, breaking tackles all the way down to the 29-yard line. So big conversion on 3rd down. Nice hard running there by 9th grader Hunter Love.
The 9th grader shedding about 3 tackles here. He breaks through the line of scrimmage, sheds 1 tackle there, comes off and sheds another one right here, and then took 2 more of Boaz defenders to knock him out of bounds. Great run by Love, and I don't think Jeremy Sullivan will be very happy with the tackling on that play by the Pirates.
It'll be first down at the Boaz 28. Deepest penetration of the night so far for New Hope. Can they cash in? Phillips, I believe that was tipped coming out of there. So it'll be incomplete, 2nd and 10.
Looked like it might have been tipped, maybe even slipped out of his arm. It was a wounded duck, that's for sure.
Well, I think you're right. I think it did just slip out of his fingers. A lot of sidearm action there, and the grip just left him at the right moment, at the wrong time there.
No offense to the young man, but that is the ugliest pass that we've seen here today, for sure.
And an aberration because he's had some good ones. 2nd down and 10. Takes a snap, takes off. Only 2 or 3 yards that time. Play defended well by 2 or 3 Boaz defenders, including junior Colin Brooks. So it's going to be 3rd down and long now for the Indians. As we are under 2 minutes to play here in the 2nd quarter. 3rd and 9. Phillips pitches to Love, did a good job just to haul that one in, and then he is hauled down at the 23-yard line by Boaz's Patrick Childers. So it'll be 4th down now for the Indians.
And I think actually that the bobble right there got him a few extra yards. It kind of threw off the Boaz defense, and he was able to recover and finally get about 4 or 5 yards there. Speaking of Boaz, they've had a few famous players come out of there as well. Folks might remember back in the early 2000s, former Alabama offensive lineman Michael Ray played at Boaz. And, of course, Michael Ray's dad was from Piedmont and was an all-stater at Piedmont. And all his relatives are from Piedmont. So another local connection, and also a former starting lineman for the Crimson Tide. And Michael Ray, who also, I think last year went into the Marshall County Sports Hall of Fame.
4th and 4. Phillips pressured, going to be sacked back at the 35. Boaz, they sent the house. And it paid off because they got home. Combination of Briley Ramey and Colin Brooks. And so the New Hope drive stalls here as Boaz comes up with a big defensive play.
Coach Sullivan pulls the trigger that time, sends the entire house, and it paid off. And a big play by the Boaz Pirates all the way back to the 35-yard line on a huge sack. And again, New Hope's been pretty good on offense, Mickey, but they have had 3 killer plays, a sack, a fumbled high snap, and then another fumble on a reverse play that have just absolutely snuffed out 3 drives.
So Boaz gets it back. 45 seconds left in the second quarter. Harden back on the field to lead his team. Lobs it over the middle. Oh, and the pass was behind the intended receiver, Logan Bailey. He was trying to kind of dump it in there where only Bailey could catch it, but a little bit too far behind him.
Both teams getting some of the younger players in there now, and we'll see more of those younger players coming up. As we understand it, there's going to be a third quarter, and that quarter will be reserved strictly for some JV players.
Harden passes away. Pass is caught by Dixon, but a short gain. As he is tackled immediately by Dylan Sigler, and an injured player, the young man who caught the football down at the 37-yard line.
And you certainly understand the sentiment of both of these teams. You know, Boaz has a lot of players on the sideline, and so does New Hope. And you understand that wanting to play maybe a JV game so that you can get some of those players to play in an atmosphere like this, so they can say they played on turf, they played on television, they played in a college stadium. And so that young man looks like he's going to pop up pretty quick over there for Boaz.
So 21 seconds left on the clock. Third down coming up. Collins up the middle, play that's been so successful tonight. At time it gets about 3 yards short of the first down at the 42, and that will be the final play of the second quarter. And possibly for the varsity players, as Boaz takes a 7-0 lead into the third and final quarter here in their final game of the Gridiron Challenge here on this Thursday night from JSU. We'll be back with our continued coverage in just a moment.
There's a killer on the loose in Alabama. This won't help you. This won't help you either. Even this won't help you. But this will. Breast cancer affects 1 in 8 women, and the only thing that can catch this killer is early detection with an annual high-quality mammogram. Advanced Imaging in Oxford and Gadsden was the first facility in Alabama to offer 3D digital mammography. Find out more online at alliesinthefight.com. Advanced Imaging, better technology for better health care.
Your neighborhood Grub Mart is your one-stop shop for everything you need when you're on the go. Grub Mart features the best prices on Coke and Pepsi products and is home to the 99-cent bag of ice every day. And Grub Mart is your exclusive home for the popcorn bucket. Purchase yours for only $5.99, then bring it in for free refills throughout the year. That's right, free popcorn for a full year. Your locally owned and operated Grub Mart, in business for over 74 years.
For a high-flying adventure of a lifetime, visit the new Screaming Eagle Zipline Canopy Tour and Aerial Adventure Park at Lake Guntersville State Park. Fly above and through the treetops at heights up to 250 feet on Alabama's largest high-speed zipline course. The Screaming Eagle is a safe and family-friendly adventure course that allows you to explore Lake Guntersville State Park from the point of view of the park's famous bald eagles and enjoy amazing views of Lake Guntersville. Book your aerial adventure tour today by calling 256-886-2517 or book online at LakeGuntersville Zipline.com.
Downey Drug has been your pharmacy leader for over 40 years, and we are regularly voted best pharmacy and pharmacist by the readers of the Anniston Star. At Downey Drug, our customers are also our friends and neighbors, and we sincerely care about your health. That's why we are dedicated to personal service every day with every customer. And now, introducing Easy Meds, medication management made simple. Call us and find out more. Downey Drug, your pharmacy leader with 2 locations to serve you.
And we are back at the Gridiron Challenge. There you see Boaz over New Hope 7-0 after 2 quarters. And we are in a break now and waiting the teams to begin play in the third quarter, which will be the final quarter. Let's check in down on the field with Gerhard.
All right. surrounded by the Boaz cheerleaders right here. And what I heard is that, all right, so girls, I think the camera's that way. So, okay, so what I heard was that they are the 4-time state champions for the state of Alabama. They're going for the 5-peat is what I just heard. They compete in nationals, as John said earlier in the broadcast. So right here, take a good look and good listen to a 4-time state champions from Boaz. All right, girls, I'll put
Let's go, Boaz. Okay, we'll go Boaz on 3. 1, 2, 3. Go Boaz!
A little taste of it, guys.
I think they heard that in Piedmont. Wow. 4-time state champion. I was not sure exactly how many state cheerleading championships they had won, but I knew it was a bunch. I knew they had been down to Disney and competing and so forth. It is serious business up there. They have done a fantastic job through the years with cheerleading up at Boaz, and that's a tough competitive sport, and they're excited to be down here.
All right, we're going to step aside for another timeout and come back with the third quarter here at the Gridiron Challenge.
2017 college football season kicks off in Montgomery. The Guardian Credit Union FCS kickoff will open the college football season on Saturday, August 26th at 5 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. Don't miss 2 of the nation's top-ranked FCS teams, the Jacksonville State University Gamecocks and the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga Mocs at historic Crampton Bowl. Visit GuardianKickoffClassic.com for the FanFest schedule of events and game information.
You will take more than 672 million breaths throughout your lifetime. Yet life is not measured by the number of breaths you take, but by the moments that take your breath away. JSU is proud to offer Northeast Alabama's only Bachelor of Science in Respiratory Therapy. Now enrolling tomorrow's breathing specialist. Breathe easy.
And we are back at JSU Stadium at Burgess Snow Field for quarter number 3 here in the final game tonight of the Spring Gridiron Challenge here on TV 24. Boaz and New Hope. This will be, as we understand it, a JV quarter, and this will be a 10-minute quarter. 10 minutes on the clock there. I don't think, Mickey, this is going to be a running clock because there was an incomplete pass and they stopped the clock after only 4 seconds. So now we start again. These are supposed to be JV players for the most part here in this final 10-minute quarter.
Second down and 10 from the 35. And Gage Clark, nice job just to get that football out of there and avoid the sack. Isaac Zandbergen able to make the catch and pick up 6 yards, making it third and 4.
Nice job shedding tackles that time. Shed about 3 Boaz defenders and able to pick up some nice yardage there. Actually wound up picking up about 12 yards or so.
So 3rd and 3 for New Hope. And nowhere to go for quarterback Gage Clark. He was wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage for a big loss.
So again, the JVs kind of taking the cue from the varsity. Get some positive plays and then a big negative play, and it ends a drive, and there's the simulated punt by the New Hope Indians. Want to remind folks, we'll take the day off tomorrow. We're expecting an 80% chance of showers, thunderstorms. We're going to take the day off and avoid all that. That weather is going to clear out by very early in the day on Saturday morning, and then Saturday at 11 we will be back here live, streaming live on TV24.tv as well. And we have got some fantastic matchups coming up on Saturday. Mickey, that first game that we've got Saturday between Hoover, defending 7A state champion, and Park Crossing out of Montgomery, that might be the 7A and 6A champions right there.
Mm-hmm.
The Park Crossing is loaded and will certainly be one of the top teams in 6A in South Alabama. Of course, Hoover loaded again. defending state champions. That's going to be a great matchup to kick things off at 11 o'clock here at JSU on Saturday.
Make plans to come join us. It'll be a great way to start off the day. Great game to see.
And then, you know, after that, you've got Hewitt-Trussville, a team that's in the Gadsden City region there in Class 7A Region 4, a team that Gadsden City upset last year in the quarterfinals. They were very good last year and supposed to be loaded again, taking on a Cordova, Tennessee team who was 12-2 last year in 6A in the state of Tennessee, coming from Metro Memphis. So that promises to be a great matchup right after the Hoover and Park Crossing game.
Second down and 9 for Boaz. Quarterback Garrett Bright. His pass is incomplete.
And we will not have a running clock. Incomplete pass. We're stopped at 7:49. And that's not the only games, because we also have Central of Coosa and Horseshoe Bend. We're going to play a little tri-match, 3 quarters there between Spring Garden, Southeastern, and Winterboro. And we're also going to see Wetumpka coming from Elmore County, Metro Montgomery. And they're going to take on Mary Montgomery, who's coming from Sims down in North Mobile County, to close out our action here on Saturday night. So we got teams coming from Memphis, Chattanooga, Huntsville, Birmingham, Montgomery, down around the Andalusia area with Strawn, the Mobile metro area, Chattooga, Georgia, from Summerville and Northwest Georgia, coming from all over to JSU over the next 5 days. Russellville will be here next Friday night from Northwest Alabama.
Third down, pass is incomplete, intended for Logan Beasley. There were actually 2 receivers in the vicinity of that pass, so it'll be 4th down and 9. Boaz will have to punt it away. Neither offensive unit here in this third quarter getting much going.
The clock is running. You see that because of the simulated punt, they do run the clock during the simulated punt, and then they'll stop it once the ball is placed down. I do believe they did at 7:29. I think brighter days ahead for Boaz. It's been a tough last couple of years. 2-8 2 years ago, 1-9 last year, playing in a really tough region, especially the top half of that. When you start talking about Alexandria and Etowah and Gunnersville and Scottsboro, especially last year Scottsboro with Bo Nix at quarterback, they've been in a really, really tough region.
Nice zip on that pass by Clark as he hit Zion Davis over the middle. Put that one right on the mark.
That's about as pretty of a slant pattern as you can draw up right there.
So they'll have a first down at the Boaz 47. Gage Clark, the 9th grader. Gets the pass away, and it's incomplete. Intended for Zach Blackwood, who may have heard some footsteps. Maybe took his eye off the ball a little early.
And some nice pressure there coming in to disrupt that from Andreas Matias, a 10th grader, coming off the edge that time for Boaz. Make that 52 Riley Clements, the defensive end, coming off.
So 2nd down and 10. Clark to the air again. Completes it to Furlow. Down to the 36, and that'll move the chains. First down, Indians.
Nice looking drive. This has been the best offense we've seen is from the second line players here for New Hope here in this third quarter.
And a high snap, and Clark, all he can do is fall on it. And back at the 48. We've seen that tonight a few times.
As the 4th play for a loss. I don't know if it'll end this drive, but the last 3 disaster plays totally blew up good drives by New Hope. And now here's a 4th one. It's 2nd down. But they've got to go all the way down to the 26-yard line, so call it 2nd down and 22 now for the Indians.
They have stopped themselves on just about every drive they've had. And may have offsides on Boaz. I think someone maybe came early unless they were drawn off, and that is the call, offsides against the Pirates.
So that'll help get 5 yards back, make it 2nd down and 17, move the ball back inside the 45. I think both Coach Chadwick and Coach Sullivan can bring some positives out of this. Boaz looks much better. I don't have a way to compare New Hope because I did not see New Hope play last year like I did Boaz, but I think they've got a lot of young players at New Hope stepping in to take the place of some very talented, skilled players they lost. But you have to remember this is a 5A versus a 3A. So I think once they get into 3A region play with folks like Plainview and Sylvania and Geraldine, I think they'll be okay.
Clark goes deep, incomplete. Down at the 20-yard line, it was intended for Davis. So it'll be 3rd and long now.
I know one thing, when we start planning the coverage of this event way back in the wintertime when these games start coming together, this is the kind of weather that we anticipate having in the middle of May in Alabama. We've had storms before for this event, but this night has been absolutely perfect.
And this pass by Clark is incomplete. It was intended for Zach Blackwood. Good coverage by Boaz. And it'll be 4th and long. Once again, that high snap, just too much to overcome.
4th down and about 17 now. And
offense is staying out there.
They'll go for it. Why not? You have to keep in mind, too, especially when we start looking at JV players. As we mentioned, I think, in our first game between Oxford and Minor, this is day number 10 of spring practice. They've only had 9 practices, and some of those are reserved for conditioning. So as far as pads and hitting and actually doing those kind of things, it's been very, very few days they've had here in May.
And Davis unable to turn the corner as he was met there and yanked down by Tanner Lacey. And so the ball will go back over to Boaz with 4:18 to play.
To be honest with you, Mickey, I'm pretty amazed at the job these coaches do to be able to put out a product that we've seen today. We've seen some good play from all 6 of these teams today. With only 9 days of practice, and you haven't had any practice for most of these teams since last November, some since last October. I'm really impressed with the job these coaches do in organizing and getting together, how sharp these teams look. It's amazing to me that they can do this with only 9 days of work.
I agree. I've always felt that way, seeing these teams come in. And, you know, there are some teams who don't want to risk this. And we know who some of those are. They just don't want to play because they don't have enough time to get ready. And so I always want to tip my hat to the teams and the coaching staffs that agree to play in these spring games, because, you know, it's one thing to play a scrimmage or a spring game in your own stadium, but to come to this venue on live television, you kind of put yourself out there a little bit.
And I think you think of the positives. You think about what Boaz is going to walk away from. A team that won 1 football game last year with a new coach, and the momentum this will create if they can hang on and win here going to the summer. I don't think you can put a price on that.
And here's Garrett Bright in for the touchdown. So Boaz, after scoring on their first possession of the first quarter, finally break through here with the JV players late in the 3rd quarter.
Basically untouched. I don't think anybody laid a finger on him. That's just a sprint to the end zone by Garrett Bright, the senior. Just a simple end around and then sprinted about 40 yards to the end zone for the touchdown.
So the extra point attempt now from Baeza out of a hold from Harden. And he puts it right through there. So 14-0 Boaz with 3:32 to play in the third and final quarter. Here we see it again as Garrett Bright basically untouched.
That's about as easy as it gets right there. What a positive feel, especially for a team like Boaz, who just quite frankly, both on the field and off the field, their football program has not had a lot of positives that have happened to them over the last 2 years. To be able to come down here, a setting like this, to come to a college campus and play in a college stadium on television, and to get a win and to take that into the summer, it'll be an excited bunch. I think that'll energize the Boaz community. The ones that came here, I think, will be going back to Boaz tomorrow, talking about how good their team looked. And I think there'll be a lot of positive energy in the Boaz community over the summer.
So New Hope gets it back. 1st and 10 at their 35. Clark hands it off up the middle. Pyle just surging forward, and somewhere in there's a running back. There he is, number 2, Hunter Love.
And for Coach Chadwick and the folks up at New Hope, I think considering the amount of firepower they lost off their offense last year, to come in with a slate of new players at a lot of key positions, I think there's some positives. You can see if you take away the mistakes, who knows if they don't have the snaps over the head and the fumbles and the sacks and all of that, the major big yardage losses. You know, this is a New Hope team that had some pretty good offense going at times. I think there's a lot of positives for Coach Chadwick and his team to take back up to Madison County for the offseason as well.
Good play coming off the edge by Boaz's Lorenzo Goss. So 3rd down and 7. Under 2 minutes to play. Clark throws it up, and it is picked off at midfield by Trey Ritchie.
Nice play on the ball by Trey Ritchie. Just kind of threw it up for grabs. Ritchie did a great job turning around, turning his head, seeing the ball, see him make the beat on the ball, and goes in and makes a nice catch and interception. He made it look easy. We saw in that first game between Oxford and Minor, easy interceptions are not always easy. Had a lot of drops in that game, but a nice interception that time by Boaz.
So Boaz gets it back at the New Hope 49 with a 14-0 lead, and here's the handoff up the middle to Cole Bowling. And he's inside the 45 to the 43 for a gain of 7. Boaz in no hurry here, I don't think.
I'll remind folks, in addition to our Pigskin Roundup magazine coming out this summer, also in August, we will begin another season of Pigskin Roundup on TV 24, Friday nights 10:30 to 12:30, with all the coverage of every big high school game going on in East Alabama again on Friday nights for 2 hours. That is closer than we think to coming, Mickey.
It is.
Right around the corner.
It is. Pigskin Roundup named the top local sports show in the state of Alabama at the recent Abbey Awards banquet in Birmingham. John and Gerhard and I were on hand to receive that award, a very, very prestigious award. We're really excited about tooting our own horn a little bit this fall.
We have a tremendous staff. I've always said I would put our staff up against anybody. We've got about, last year we had 23 individuals on that staff that worked really hard, very dedicated, very passionate about what they do, and we are geared up to, a little pressure's on now, so to live up to the standard for this fall.
Well, that'll take us to the end of the third quarter and the final quarter of this one, as Boaz shuts out New Hope by a final score of 14-0. I think both teams have a lot of things they can build off of in this game.
Gerhard Mathangani is set to speak with both Jeremy Sullivan. You see him shaking hands with him right there, and also with New Hope coach Kenny Chadwick, I believe. We'll have both of these coaches, and I think both of these guys will be very, very pleased and happy with their trip here to Jacksonville and what they got accomplished here at JSU Stadium.
Been a very good first night of the Gridiron Challenge. And a good game here to wrap things up on this first night. And Gerhard is standing by with both coaches.
Hey guys, I'm here with a pair of first-year head coaches with their squads. Coach, a few practices under your belt, and then you got your first spring game. Talk about everything that went on from the time that you started up to this point.
Well, hats off to Coach. With Boaz, we both came in with a limited amount of spring practices, playing on an early date, and you know, he did a great job preparing his staff, and we got a ways to go. We got to find a way to move the ball and protect.
Absolutely. Talk about some of the things that you will lay out for your program over the next few months as you start to implement some of the things that you want to see in New Hope before August begins.
Well, we got to hit the weight room. These kids have been off, not been in the weight room in a while, had a true strength and conditioning program. So we've got to do that. We got to get stronger, more physical, and if we don't, then we're going to have more outcomes like this. But again, Boaz played a great game, and hats off to him, and wish him the best luck.
Final question, talk about being able to come out here into this venue and get some live action against a very good Boaz squad.
Sure enough. They brought it to us, and you know, they were bringing some heat, and we were having trouble protecting it, and we were trying to get it to the perimeter. We shot ourselves in the foot a few times, but that's no excuse. It's just a matter of us coming together and gelling.
Absolutely, Coach Chadwick. Best of luck to you in the future. We'll swing over here to Coach Sullivan. First off, Coach, you and I have a history. You were a GA when I was here. First off, talk about just being back here at Jacksonville State, where you played, where you started, and then now bringing your Boaz bunch here.
Well, it's great to be back here. You know, got a lot of memories in this stadium. I played a lot of games, coached a lot of games, had a lot of fun, and you know, JSU's a great place. I love it. You know, it's home for me. So it was real special to be able to bring my kids back here for our first game. You know, and I appreciate the opportunity that everybody gave us to be here.
We talked with Coach Patrick Williams about everything that went on over the last few months and you being able to get this job. Talk about the things that you've embraced over the last few months, being able to get your squad here, and then some of the things you want to see moving forward.
Well, you know, it's been an odd situation at Boaz with Coach Whaley and his illness, and Coach Whaley is just such a great man. The kids love him, you know, and everybody in the community loves him, and I've grown to love him over the last few months. And you know, he's just a guy that you just think the world of, and because of his health over the last couple of years, you know, he had been limited in some of the things he could do. He's been a great asset to me since I've been there. I've never seen kids more receptive to coaching, to wanting to get better, to working hard, to doing anything we've asked them to do so far. And moving forward, we got to keep doing that. You know, it was a good night. It's always fun to win, but there'll be a million things that we can fix on this film. We got to correct all of them, and you know, we got to get stronger and faster and all that stuff that you're always working to do. And you know, but at least we got something to give us some momentum going into the summer.
It sounds like your guys are really fired up. I was able to talk to a few of them, and one of the things they said was, we're not going to go 1-9 anymore. That hunger has to obviously be something that's motivating for you as a coach, knowing that the things that you will push them over the next few months will pay off.
Well, we want to really instill pride in being a football player at Boaz High School. We want to produce great young men, and you know, if we can win some football games along the way, of course we'll be happy about that. But you know, those kids have done everything we've asked them to do. You can really see how hungry they are, how much they want to win, and everybody wants to win. You know, and I saw a great quote today. Everybody wants to win. Who wants to work hard enough to get it done? And you have to prepare to do it. And you know, we're not where we need to be, but I think we can get there by August.
Absolutely. Coach, thank you so much for your time. You've been great. Absolutely. Coach Sullivan, and also you heard from Coach Chadwick earlier. Both guys really, really positive about their futures here in the next coming weeks and months ahead as they get their programs ready for August. Guys, back to you.
Great shot there. I don't think we could pick a better shot to wrap things up. Do you, John?
That's what it's all about. And, you know, Gene Stallings used to always say the fun is in the winning. And there he is celebrating with his daughter, and the fun is in the winning for Boaz tonight. They haven't had a lot of that in the last couple of years, but tonight they'll have a win to take them throughout the rest of the summer.
Well, I'd like to thank all 6 teams for participating tonight on the opening night of the Gridiron Challenge. And we've got a lot more football to come. As John mentioned, we'll be back with you live Saturday morning to get things started with Hoover and Park Crossing. Hope you'll come take part in the action live here at JSU Stadium. If you can't make it, we will be live on the air at 11 a.m. for a full day of high school football. For our entire hard-working crew here from JSU Stadium, we'll say so long from Jacksonville.